Oh, hey there. Good afternoon on this lovely Sunday. We always got to give God the honor and all the glory for waking us up this morning and giving us a chance to be better today than we were yesterday. Absolutely. I hope my mic is on. I didn't test it, but I don't see the light. Whoever's on the live that just hit the like button, I appreciate you. Can you hear me? All right, my new mic just crunked on me. Can you hear me now? What about now? Not now? Good now? Appreciate you. How you guys doing today? I was in the middle of giving God all the honor and glory for waking us up this morning and giving us another chance to be better today than we were yesterday. Um, we got to take advantage of every moment that he gives us because, as a lot of people are saying, and as my granny used to say, we living in our last days. Now, our last days could be a thousand years from now to the end, but this is it. So we got to make the best of it with the time that we have left. Did you guys get a chance to catch the Tyson fight? I know everybody is talking about that. We watched it, and I'll be honest, all of the undercards were more exciting than the actual Tyson-Jake Paul fight, to be honest, which was quite disappointing. You know what I'm saying? I know Mike is old and everything, but I expected a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody pointed out to me that the Mike Tyson we saw while he was training wasn't the same Mike Tyson in the ring. And there were two distinct things that I noticed about this fight that I didn't notice. Yeah, it was a money grab for show. I see some reports saying that he made an upwards of 80 mil, and then some say 20 mil, but I'm leaning more towards he made about 20 mil for that. So that's enough for him to invest and, make more money off of that and do things with it. So I am proud of him, though, for getting in there and doing what he got to do to make them ducats. But, it was interesting. But the two things that I noticed was, number one, I grew up watching Mike. I grew up watching Mike Tyson. My mom and my dad were both, boxing fans. And then when my mom remarried, her and her husband used to purchase the Tyson fights on pay-per-view. So anyways, so the first thing I noticed that was different from any other major boxing event was the commentary. The commentary was cool. I liked it. I liked the different opinions. Like, you got Rosie Perez in there and whoever else was commentating. But at the very end, the announcer and the what do you call it? The reporter or whatever at the end, asking all those questions and the going back and forth. I don't remember that at major boxing events, even like confronting rumors and the way that like he mentioned what the commentators thought about the female boxer from Ireland. I thought that was really interesting, and them going back and forth and tackling that stuff. I think it was good. I think it's good TV, but I'm just not used to that. Hey, Nilson. So that was one thing that I noticed that I've never seen before. And then the other thing that I noticed, when he asked Mike Tyson what was going on with the whole biting of the glove thing, and said it's something that he's always done, I said, that ain't true, Mike. That ain't true at all. I don't ever remember Mike Tyson biting on his glove during a fight, ever, as a kid. Like, that's something you would remember. Like, oh, that's a signature Mike Tyson. No, he ain't been doing that. So I personally think that that was Mike's way of calming his nerves and stopping him from actually knocking Paul the F out. That's what I think. I think that's why he was doing that. It's just like a common thing to just kind of stop him. Like, I want to kill this mug, but I can't. So I'm going to just bite on this real quick, get my nerves down, and then I'm going to go back in. Because the Mike I know, and this is what this dude that I met yesterday pointed out. He said, with Mike, there is no in between. There ain't no, it's either I'm going in to destroy you and kill you, or you knocked me out, you got lucky, whatever. I said, you're right. Ain't no in between with him. Either he's coming for you or he's not. So it was lackluster. The undercards were awesome, all of them. Well, I missed the second fight, but I saw the first fight with the Indian dude that was humping on the other guy, and then I watched the female fight, and that was really, really good. I said, them ladies ain't come to play. I said, those are professionals. They know what they're doing. They deserve to be there. You know, the way things went down, I didn't agree with that, obviously. I think anybody with eyes could see that Irish chick cheated and headbutted that girl, and you could just see it in Serrano's face, like, this is effed up, you know, but she stood in there and she did her best. So I was proud of her for doing that. But they both got hands. They got hands. I wouldn't want to meet them in a dark alley nowhere, because I'm 11, not a fighter. Hey, Mara, what's up, girl? How are you? Happy Sunday. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, but what did you guys think about the fights? Tell me. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you watch it? Did you guys make any bets? I wish I would have made a bet. I definitely would not have bet on Tyson. I already knew, you know, just because of age and the fact that he smokes a lot of weed. And even though he was training hard and, you know, you got muscle memory that comes back and things like that, I just knew it wasn't going to be a knockout. So I would have, honestly, I would have bet on Paul. But I couldn't find anybody to bet with me. I DM'd somebody on IG just to see what they were going to say. And if they were engaged in, you know, talking about the fight, then I would have said, hey, you want to place a bet? But they didn't go for it. So it's all good. Nevertheless, I had a really good day that day, though. Maybe because I had something different to look forward to. And I was just in a really good space. But yeah. Anyways, it is cold here, and I forgot to bring my tissue. So I'm going to be snotting the whole time. Y'all forgive me. But I'm not going to be here very long. I just wanted to pop on because it's what I normally do. On Sundays around 2 while my son is at his boxing lesson. My son, he has a creed that I made him do. I saw this lady on Instagram where she made her son say something every single morning before he went to school or before he did anything major. And I like that idea. So me and my son created his own little creed. Mike Nice says it was just okay. Yeah, it was just okay. It was cool. It was something exciting to look forward to. But yeah, it was just okay. It wasn't fanfare, you know. But anyways, my son has a creed that he says, you know, about himself. You know, it's really just a long affirmation. It's not very long. It's like 3 sentences about who he is as a person, and it gives him, you know, that confidence that he needs. So he, you know, recited that, his creed, to himself in the car. And I said, now, do you believe it? Now, mind you, my son's been on punishment for the last 3 days because he did something bad. But I told him, you know, and he's been on punishment and he's been cleaning and all that stuff, no screen time, all that. But I did let him watch the fight. But you know, and I had to remind him, like, look, you know, just because you mess up in life, it doesn't mean that you are not all those things that you claim to be. You know, we all make mistakes in life. And but it's like, if you don't learn from it, that's the problem, you know. So we've been discussing what it is that he did at school, trying to make him understand the consequences of his ways and things like that, you know. And I had to remind him about Nabal in the Bible, because we did our Bible study this morning, and we're still on Samuel, First Samuel. What up, shots? What's happening, Mo? Salutations, chat box. What up, shots? I was just talking about the Tyson fight and how the two things that I noticed that I never noticed before in boxing, and I think this is something new, and maybe it was just for, TV sake, or, whatever, was the back and forth with the reporter at the end, going back and forth between the two opponents as far as like rumors and, things like that. I thought that was interesting. And then Mike Tyson saying that he's always bit his glove in a fight. And as long as I've been watching Tyson fights, even growing up, I don't never remember him biting his glove like that. So what do you think about that? But we're still reading First Samuel. I think we read like chapters 21 to 25. And in this point of time, David is still running from Saul. Saul still got that target on his back, boy. He's still running. And there was a point in time where David had the chance to Saul. Yeah, David had a chance to get Saul. David tracked him to the mountain. And no, Saul tracked him to the mountains. And he was on the other side of the mountain. And Saul had to relieve himself. And when you relieve yourself, you go by yourself. So he was all by himself. And I would like to venture and think that he was doing number two, because David had the opportunity to come behind him and take a piece of his robe. So, when you really doing your business and you only focus on that one thing, you miss all kind of things. Like, that is a very vulnerable place to be in. I told my son, I said, look, when you're using the bathroom, you got to always watch your back, because that is a very vulnerable position to be in. And he could have, but he didn't. He spared him yet again. And then they finally meet up, and he tells him, look, I could have did this, I could have did that. What's your problem, bruh? But later on, David goes on, and we get to the story of Nabal. The whole story in Samuel is just phenomenal. There's so many life lessons, so many things that we can relate to today, and me and my son, we always pause and have discussions about what's going on. Oh, okay, you heard my point. Okay. About the glove have something there. He never did. Yeah, he never did that. He never did that. So that was real interesting. I was like, Tyson, you lying now. We know what's up with that. But where was I going with that story? Oh, Nabal, the fool. So if you guys didn't know this, so what happened was there was a guy in town who lived in the middle of the land. He had lots of land. He had like 3,000 sheep. He had 1,000 goats. And it was time for his sheep to get sheared and everything, right? And so David sent some of his guys over there, young men over there, to greet him and to be like, hey, I know it's sheep shearing time. How about you share, some of your stuff with us, and let's break bread, And Nabal, being the fool that he is, was like, I don't even know you. Like, no. And he's like, well, his guys told him. David gave them a message to tell him, and he said, look, all this time we've protected you. We are surrounding your area. We are surrounding all of this, and we protected it. We've watched out for it. We've made sure no harm has come your way. Nobody has stolen any of your flock. Break bread. And Nabal, being the fool that he is, was like, nah, I'm good. So they went back and reported it. And of course, David was, being prideful, like his ego was busted. Like, how dare he? Like, I done looked out for him, and this is what he, you know what I'm saying? And my son was like, well, why would he? He doesn't know him. Kids. I said, well, put it like that's the thing about it like this, son. I said, we live in this neighborhood, right? And we don't live in the best neighborhood. I did not do my due diligence when I moved to where I moved to, right? And I said, what if there was a guy across the street who comes and him and his family are, having hard times, and he asked me, he smells my food from across the street, and he asked for some food to feed him and his family, and he says, well, I've always looked out for your house. These bad teenagers that live in the neighborhood, Several times I've stopped them from jumping your gate and coming in there, you know, can you hook me up or whatever? I said, I would be a fool to say no. I said, because that person then looked out for us. I said, you always feed somebody. Always feed somebody. And guess what? If you don't have it to feed them, you point them in the direction of a place that they can get it. If you don't have it and this is all you have, and you know this has to last you for the next 3 days, let them, show them, tell them resources of where they can go and get some if you don't have it to share, you know. But I always make it a point to tell my son that you gotta at least feed people. If anything, money's different if you don't have it. If you don't want to give it, don't, because God don't like us to give grudgingly, right? So I just tell him, always feed people. That's one thing. My brother can call me if he say I'm hungry. I'm gonna give him some money for some food. But this is the part that I really had to hone in on my son, because I am a single mom raising, so he doesn't really have that male influence like that. So, of course, I have to use the Bible as an example. And this was the most amazing story I heard about Nabal's wife. So, of course, David was in his feelings. David's ego was crushed. He was like, oh, heck no, I'm about to kill this fool, because who do he think he's talking to, right? So word got back to Nabal's wife. And Nabal's wife was like, oh, my husband done messed up. I got to fix this ASAP. So what she do? She gathered up some sheep. She gathered up some goats, I think, some wine. And she went and she met David. And she said, look, now she didn't tell her husband, because she already know her husband is a fool. Her husband's name means fool. That's the meaning of his name. And that's why we got to be careful about what we name our kids out here, y'all, okay? Be careful what you name your kids, because they will actually become that. Words, names have power. So anyways, she met up with David and she took all the blame. She knew dang on well that David knew that it wasn't her fault, but she had to soften the blow, And she talked to him, she hollered at him, and she said, look, my husband, he's a fool. He made a mistake, but it's all my fault. Please forgive us. Don't kill us in our family. Please spare us. I've brought this to offer you, as an apology, please spare us, right? And David's thinking. And then she said, she was thinking quick on her toes. Her name is Abigail. Abigail said, you don't want that on your conscience. I know the type of man you are. I know who you are. Now, mind you, everybody knows who David is. So if she knew who David was, surely Nabal knew who David was. So him over there acting like, I don't know you, he messed up big time. But she came in, she softened the blow. She offered some, apologies, some offerings and things like that. And then she finally said, look here, you don't want that on your conscience. Don't do it. God has blessed you, and he's going to continue to bless you. And David said, got you. Bet. So I had to make it a point to tell my son, that's the type of woman you want, son. That's the type of woman you want. You want one that's going to go to bat for you. You want one that's going to do whatever it takes to defend her and her family. A woman with sense. The Bible even describes Abigail as a woman that's beautiful and sensical. You want a woman that's not just pretty, not something just arm candy, but she also got to have some sense about her. So I made a point to let him know that's the type of woman you want, And then what happened? She went back, and David, number one, was grateful to that encounter, because he didn't really want to do that. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to have that conscience on him. He didn't want to have that mark on his record of killing a fool, because honestly, what does that do? He's a fool, you kill him, okay, and what? What did that really prove? That would have been all ego, So God ended up striking Nabal anyway, and he ended up dying days later. He had a stroke, stuck in the bed. He couldn't do nothing for Abigail and nobody else. And a couple of days later, he was gone. And what did David do? Soon as he heard, he swooped right in there. And he said, Abigail, you mine now. And my son said, I don't like that. I said, what don't you like? He was like, man, soon as he heard, he was like, that don't even seem right. Like, the man dies and you take his wife right away. I said, yup. I said, because look here. I said, men, you guys are smart and you know what you want. You know what you want right away. It don't take years and years and years to be stringing a woman along. You know what you want. And if she's the one, you going to scoop it up and you going to tie it down. You going to put a ring on it right away. Ain't no waiting. Ain't no thinking. Ain't no, nope. I said, he knew what he want. I said, the Bible says she was beautiful and smart. I said, do you think her looks had anything to do with it? He said, well, knowing David's character, the looks was a plus, but it probably wasn't the main reason. I said, true. I said, knowing how David is and how smart he is, he probably wasn't concerned. I said, but I tell you what, her beauty definitely helped. Her beauty definitely helped, you know? And then not only that, when he went to retrieve her and he sent word like, you mine now, she was ecstatic. She was all for it. She said, not only am I going to be your wife, but I'm going to be your servant too. I'm going to serve you. A submissive woman, right? You want a woman that wants to do for you, right? So she's smart, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she knows how to use her mouth, not in that way. You know, I said, that's the type of woman you want. And not only did she come by herself, she brought her own 5 servant girls to assist. You know, you want somebody who's going to bring something to the table, to not just come to the table and sit and talk about, you know, what you going to do for me? It don't go that way, because at the end of the day, I heard somebody say, we're both the prize. Not just the woman is not just the prize, and not just the man is the prize. Both the prize. And then when you bring it together, it can make something so beautiful. What up, Skank Hut? How you doing? But yeah, that story was real interesting. We're not done yet, because in the next chapter it says that David spares Saul, and I'm like, Saul just ain't gonna learn. I said, son, what do you think is gonna happen? He said, he's just gonna have to kill him at some point. I said, you're right. I said, I think so. I haven't read all of Samuel, but I think that's what's going to, because listen, you only get so many times until you're just like, because I'm like, yo, David, Saul is the op at this point. He gots to go. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see what happened, but I'll keep y'all posted. But if you don't want to take my word for it, you know, because I'm sure I'm missing a lot of details going over to 1 Samuel chapters, all of Samuel. It's a good story. I like to stay single just because I have no relationship instincts. Ooh, that is not good. How old are you, Skank Hunt? You got to have instinct. You got to ask God for discernment, and he'll tell you who's for you and who ain't. You can feel it. You can feel it in your gut. You really can feel it. You got to tap into your God conscious. And if you don't have that yet, or you're working on it and developing it, like we all should be, right? None of us are all knowing. None of us know everything. You got to constantly be asking God. That's where prayer comes in, and having faith. You got to pray all the time. God, is this for me? Is this ain't for me? Is she the one? Is he the one? You know, all the time. You had one. Okay, that's why I know why. 32. Yeah. So you're old enough to know, you know, you just got to look at the character of a person, really. That'll tell you all you need to know. And if she happened to be real, real beautiful, that's a bonus, you know. But when you look at the character of people, it takes you a long time to get in relationships, because you start to notice a lot of stuff that might not align with you. And a lot of us overlook those things just for the sake of being in a relationship, or just to have somebody up under us. But don't ever be that desperate. Don't ever let it get to that point. Don't just settle for somebody because of the way they look or how they make you feel physically. You know, they got to be a ride or die, like Abigail and Samuel. But I'll give every couple their luck. Yeah. Of course, you always want to wish the best on people. You know, if they try something new, something different, they're in a new relationship, they just trying it out. Yeah, wish them luck. You know, pray for their union, you know. But if that's something that you really want, you gotta pray to God for it, you know. And he'll give you the desires of your heart if you're obedient and you got faith. But I switched fast with things in life. With making music, I found some food. That's good. That's good. Yeah. And that's key too. Finding what makes you happy and just going all in on that. And God will send you, you know, what it is that you're looking for. And a lot of times a lot of times it comes when you least expect it. Especially if you focus on productive stuff and you're not just on the hunt. Like a lot of people on these dating apps just trying to find somebody. You know, a couple months ago, you know, I was entertaining different people online. That ain't, and you see where it got me. On here fussing, right? So you just got to do you. Skin Cut says, I don't worry about the hardships in a relationship, but I don't really care that much on the advantages of a relationship, if you know what I mean. No, I don't. You don't care about the advantages of it? I mean, because, you know, that's why people get in them, because of the advantages. Like, what do you get out of being in a relationship? You got somebody to do things with, somebody to have conversations with, you know. So there's always positives and advantages to being in relationships. You just want to be in a good one. You don't want to be in a toxic one, you know. And that's why a lot of people stay single. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, well, they're single because they don't have enough money, or they're single because they need to lose some weight, or they're single because they're just an a-hole. That's not true. A lot of times people just don't want to deal with the bull, you know, and they're like, I tried it. It's not working. I'm just going to stay by myself, you know. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube named Walter Hampton. He's a real big, buff, muscular dude, right? And every year he comes around and he likes to warn us that it's homosexual season, y'all. You know, it's getting cold. You see me out here. You know what I'm saying? It's cold, okay? And there are a lot of people out there that don't have a warm bed like you and I. Praise God. He has blessed us so much. And even if you don't have your own bed, just keep the faith and keep doing what you got to do, you know? I read in Proverbs 12, that a man who tends to his garden will have abundance, but the one who chases fantasies lacks judgment. You know, and a lot of us aren't really willing to put in the work to get what it is that we need. Instead, we rather lay back, kick our feet up, and just think that it's going to appear, like a lot of millennials do, right? They think they're just entitled. They think everything's just going to come to them. And that's not how that works. People that chase fantasies lack judgment. It says it in the word. So if you're sitting around in fantasy land thinking that things is just going, you got to put in the work in order to get what it is that you need. And that's the same with dating. You got to be intentional, and you have to be your best self in order to get what it is that you truly deserve and what you're going to be happy with, you know? Let me compare it with the movie that's hyped by anybody, but you just don't feel it. Sorry if this sounds hogwash. You have to compare it to a movie that's hyped. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say, Skin Cut. Oh, let me see here. Being able to take on challenges together and be talking to each other is a cornerstone. Yeah, I'm just single at heart. It's really nothing bad or to worry about. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, if it's not a desire of yours, then, you know, I'll save my words. I'm over here trying to get you to find the right woman, and you're like, I really don't care. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm just at the point where it's just like, it is what it is. I'm chilling. I'm raising my kid. I'm trying to get closer to God, you know, listen to him more. Read the word and fully understand what it is that he will to have me do while I have this time left, because nothing is promised. No day is promised. Life is not promised, you know? So I'm trying to focus on what's important and what's going to get me to the next level, you know? And so a relationship just like you is the last thing on my mind. Would it be nice? Yes. But life ain't too bad without it either. Real talk, you know? But you gotta truly like love yourself, and you gotta truly be content with who you are in order to even get to that point. What up, Donovan? Good morning. Yeah, it's still morning where you at. It's afternoon here, bruh. You were in my alma mater. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Share your platforms. Yes, appreciate you. Yep. I might be going back. I might be going back to get my master's in organizational leadership, Donovan. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I was like, that's my alma mater. I may as well finish there. You know, I always wanted to be what's a Trojan. I always wanted to go to USC though. That was my dream. That was my dream. I always wanted to be a Trojan, but I couldn't afford it. So I came into the military instead. But yeah, I am good. Mike Nice saying what's up to Donovan. So you guys, yesterday, this is funny. Speaking of like meeting people, right? And I'm not looking into it or anything like that. But my son, so you see it's cold, my nose is starting, right? I said, son, go get dressed. We're gonna go to the park. We're gonna get your hair cut and we're gonna go to the park for a little bit. So my son puts on a long sleeve shirt with like orange stripes, and then he puts on orange shorts, and then a jacket, and then knee-high socks. And so I just looked and I didn't say anything because, you know, I've already explained to my son that black people don't dress like that. We don't just be warm up top and then cold on the bottom. If we gonna be warm here, we got to be warm here too. Like it don't work that way. Now you can wear long pants and a short sleeve and then wear a jacket if you please, but we don't do that. Y'all tracking? So I'm like, you know what? I've already explained it to him several times. I'm not doing it again. I'm just going to let him see. I want him to get cold and be like, dang it, I shouldn't have put on shorts with a long sleeve shirt. So anyways, we get to the barbershop and my son, and normally I go in and I chop it up with the barber or whatever, but I was like, let me just sit in my car and get some me time because I've been stuck with my son for the last couple of days. So I'm just sitting here chilling and there's a gentleman that walked by and my window is halfway rolled down because I'm puffing. And he's like, oh, my bad. I didn't. I'm thinking I'm in my car. I'm safe. You're good. You know, I was like, yeah, you're good. You know, whatever. I was like, I saw you coming. And so he's sitting there and he's smoking his Black and Mild. And I was like, yo, did you see the fight? Right. I was bored because what was online was it? And he was like, yo. And he said the same thing y'all said. It was lackluster, whatever. Right. So anyways, we're chopping it up. And he was like, is that your son in there? I said, yeah. He said, look. And I said, I already know what you're going to say, bro. I said, I already know. I said, I told him not to wear that. He said, bruh. He said, and he ashy too. I said, you think I don't tell my son to put on lotion every time he get out the shower? I said, you don't think I've told my son to wear pants with a long sleeve? I said, but at this point, he's a boy. I'm a girl. Everything I say goes in one ear and out the other. He don't hear me. I said, but if anybody else say it to him, it clicks. I said, you feel me? He said, I know exactly what you're talking about, right? So anyways, we go on chopping it up. And then my son gets his haircut. He comes outside, grabs the money. And he said, hey, I said, Bishop, introduce yourself. Because I forgot the dude's name at this point, right? So I'm like, introduce yourself. So Bishop's like, hi. He goes, oh, you got a nice firm handshake. He said, now let me ask you a question, sir. And Bishop's like, huh? And he's like, what made you put on shorts with that long sleeve shirt? And he's like, well, I like the colors in this one. And then the shorts matches this. And he's like, oh, okay, it matches. I see. He said, but you feel how cold it is, right? He's like, are you cold? And my son was like, well, not up here, but yeah, my legs are getting kind of cold. He said, you can't do that. Don't do that no more. So he explained. So I appreciated the fact that he actually heard me say, you know, when I say something, it don't click. But if anybody else say it, it click. So I like the fact that he, you know, said that to my son. That was real cool. But me and him had some really good conversation. It was cool. Donovan said, okay, please do that. Finish. I came into the military for education also. Never thought about war. Same. Listen, I was dating a guy who said that most people come in the military for patriotism. I said, you a lie. I said, that ain't true at all. I said, I bet you even if you ask that amongst most white people that came in, most of them will not tell you it was for patriotism. It was because they were trying to see a way out. I went to basic training with a white girl you would never, ever, ever think. McVicker was her last name. Glasses, blonde, blunt cut hair, white as snow, not even tan, just as proper, just as whatever. Would have never known. Mama was a prostitute, daddy in jail or dead. So you look at people and you just can't judge a book by its cover and say, oh, they must come from that. I was shocked. So, she came in because she wanted something different. A lot of us come in for the opportunity to get some education because education is where it's at. Just because people have education don't mean they think they're better than anybody. And I'm tired of that narrative out there that people thinking, oh, because you went to school, you went to college, you think you all that. You're trying to be close to white supremacy. You want to, identify with them. You want the approval of whites. Got nothing to do with that. It has to do with wanting better for yourself and knowing that education is going to be your stepping stone to being able to make that money so that you can have a better quality of life and you could, prepare your kids for this world. It ain't always about, flashy or being able to be close to somebody. I clept, you see, over 120 hours of college courses, every base I would go to, education office. Absolutely. Yeah. Donovan, when I enrolled in Embry-Riddle, I graduated in a year and a half. It took me a year and a half. I was like, ooh, I thought I was going to need four years. Nope. Knocked it out because I clept a whole lot of it. All them history and all them easy ones. Yeah, I clept all that mess too. Knocked it out. Ashy tooth. Oh, nah, little man. He was. I was embarrassed, but at the same time I wasn't because I knew what I was doing. I was trying to prove a point to my son. I wanted him to get out there because we even went to the park after that and he was like, Mom, can we turn around? I can't do this. I was like, I know. Next time you'll think, But yeah, he called him out. I was dying. Nobody comes into the military for patriotism. No, but I only met one person. Oh, so this is the thing. So me and my ex had a bet. He was like, people come in for, I said, bruh, nobody comes in. He was one of those really by the book kind of guys. And so he signed up for selective service. And most people I know ain't never signed up for, don't even know what selective service is. He signed up for selective service. He came in because he wanted to, but really it's because he was living at his grandma's house and he wanted something different, so he came in, right? So he didn't even come in for patriotism. But I said, you know what? I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I said, I'm gonna do a poll. I said, when I get to work tomorrow, I'm gonna ask every person I know that's active duty, officers included, why did they come in? Out of 12 people, one said patriotism. Just one. And she wasn't even from America. So I was like, bruh, I said, it may sound nice, but that's not true. We all come in because we want something, whether it be to travel, whether it mean to, meet some people, screw some bitches, whatever. Everybody comes in for other reasons other than patriotism. White or not, privileged or not. I promise you that. What up, Judge? But not any I served with. Yeah. Exactly. You're a good mom teaching by real world aspects. I have to. Because Donovan, he's 10, right? And so if I don't have him by the age of 12, 13, it's a wrap. So I have to pound every bit of knowledge I have about anything and everything into this kid right now. And a lot of people tell me, back off, he's just a kid. And it's like, no, first of all, I know my son and I know what the fuck he's capable of. And I know how his mind is and I know what he can take and what he can't. Sometimes I do back up. I listen to like my cousin or I listen to Joe and I'll be like, okay, I understand. Maybe I'm doing too much in this aspect. But overall, I know my kid and I know what he needs. And so I also know that my kid is a boy and he sees me as just a girl sometimes, right? And a lot of things that I say goes in one ear and out the other. So I have to let him experience things in order for it to fully click. Or I enlist random men to break it down to my kid. So, yep. Trans coming in to get their surgeries. Absolutely. Yep. Everybody coming in for something. I'm going to tell you something. I needed my wisdom tooth taken out. That's one reason I came in. I needed education and my wisdom tooth was hurting me. And they told me it was going to cost $500 to remove a tooth. I said, $500? Yeah. So I let that shit go until I got in. And the first chance I could at the dental, I was like, yo, this tooth been bothering me. They took them all out. I was like, thank you, God. So yeah, people coming in to take advantage for the medical benefits, to take care of their family. I even suggest to men, I got a electric guy that comes to my house. He repairs something. He's 33. And he was saying how he tried to start his own business, but it was just too much. He couldn't do it. He ended up going back to the company. And we were talking about military and stuff like this right before the election or whatever. And I said, have you ever thought about the military? And he was like, I kind of did, but not really. He's got a wife and kids. I said, you should consider it. I said, you can go in and do electric work in the military, you know, get some extra certifications and have the money to fund your business, you know. So I always encourage people, especially young people, especially if you don't know where you're going in life, or you're not sure what you want to do, or you just feeling stuck. I did. Judge said, I worked at the VA. I know they was already getting trans stuff in 97. That is not new. Yeah, but now it's ramping up, especially because you have the agenda of the trans, and the trans have really caught the attention of everybody. I'm talking about media, the president, you know, Obama. Really, he made a way for them to really have some say so in this country. They getting everything they want. You know, but guess what? They know how to work together, unlike us. You have a lot of black people who are trans and in that community that identify with being LGBTQ before they even identify with being black. So there's a movement there, and it's taking speed and it's ramping up, and they're getting everything that they want. Even some of the trans, like Bruce Jenner. I appreciate Bruce Jenner because he keeps it real, you know, and he knows that it's not right for people that commit crime to be able to have gender affirming care in prison on tax dollars. That's bullshit. It doesn't even make sense. I got to get out of here and go, y'all. My son's lesson is over in 2 minutes, and my drive is like a 4-minute ride away. They took our wisdoms out, and there was nothing wrong with them. I know. Exactly, because they told me only 2 had broken through, and then the other 2 weren't. But they was like, nah, we're just gonna go ahead and take them out. But listen, that perky turkey, them Percocets was on point though. I appreciated that. But then I went on ahead and got, what do you call it, a dry socket. So I was in pain. Diamond says, I will never understand how you can sit in the hood and do nothing rather than go get a skill, housing, and benefits in the military. Exactly. Take advantage of. I keep trying to tell my little brother now, like, bruh, you only 30, you could still shave. He got dreads long, his just stretch, and his stuff go all the way down here. I'm like, you're gonna have to cut that off. You're gonna have to stop smoking weed, but I promise you, it'll give you a stepping stone in life, you know? Nothing wrong with it at all. I always encourage men to do that. Even girls, women that don't have a vision yet. We will see what benefits they cut from the vets. Why does your son study Arabic? That's a long story. Well, it's not a long story. My cousin pays for it. Our cousin Halim, he retired from the Navy about 6-7 years ago. And he's Muslim. And he pays for it. So I said, why not? You know, plus we open up the Quran here and there. So it's good to have that language. Plus we plan on going to Africa anyway. And in Tanzania, it is a primarily Muslim country. So I think it will come in handy for him. Anyways, you know, plus it's expanding his mind, his brain. And he's so smart. I need him to use all of it. Reserved for your brother, part-time and still at home. Yeah, he could do reserves. Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad I didn't know about the reserves, because once I got in and realized that there was a such thing as a Air Force Reserve, I only always heard about the Army Reserve. I didn't know the Air Force did reserves. But when I found out half my friends wasn't active duty and that they was going back home after tech school, I was like, wait, you get to go back home? Yeah, I'm reserved. What? I was like, dang it. I said, can I switch to that? But I'm glad I didn't. you know, because a lot of them can't collect on all their benefits right now. So God put me exactly where I was supposed to be, and it worked out beautifully. Thank you, Donovan. That's right. Any language is good. Anything other than English, you know. Half of us can't even perfect English right. It's like, where are you from? So to be able to speak a second language is awesome. So I love the fact that my cousin provided him the opportunity. Forever grateful. What up, Polka? But I am about to get up on out of here. I got to go pick up my son from boxing lessons. I will chat with you later. If you're just coming in, please hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. I appreciate you. And Polka, watch the replay if you get a chance. At least give me that view, girl. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. God bless you. Bye.